Recently on social media, I posted that I was thankful because it was the 13-year anniversary of a car accident that I had that put 40 plus stitches in my face, and many people asked me about that. So I kind of wanted to do a little a video about that, and I thought that I would work it into this Making History series that an author that I follow, Victoria Schwab, has been doing leading up to her book, The Archived. And she asked that if anyone else wanted to do a Making History video, then please do so. And so I thought that I would tell my story. It was a Friday night, and it was actually Friday the 13th, and my two roommates and I were going to a high school football game, and we had about an hour's drive ahead of us. We were going to one of my roommates' high school where she graduated, and so we were driving, and we were only a few miles from home on the interstate, and there was a wreck just ahead of us. So all of the traffic was slowing down, and so I slowed down and came almost to a complete stop. The person behind me, however, did not, and the person hit me and then like bounced off and kind of hit me again. And like at this point, everything is kind of going in slow motion, and so I noticed that I see the car go off the side of the road, and then everything stops, and immediately it was just kind of that moment of shock of what just happened to us, and the two people with me, I mean, other than soreness and some getting banged up, they were fine, and that was my first thought is, are you guys okay? And then I felt this warm sensation kind of flood over my face, and I just simply touched like my face and noticed there was blood, and I said, "Oh, I got some blood over here." And my friend Pam, who was right beside me, she is a personal trainer, and so she looked and immediately got my first aid kit that I had in my truck, and she put gauze on my face, and I was like, man, is my truck totaled? Because I just bought this new truck like 2 months ago, and it was kind of like always my dream to have a little truck, and I did, and now I was like, "Is it totaled?" And that's all I'm thinking about at this point. And they're like, they're yeah, I think so. And so I'm not in any pain or anything like that. And I look over at Pam and I pull the gauze away and I said, "Am I gonna need stitches?" And her exact words were, "Oh, honey, let's put that back on there." And so I was thinking, man, stitches. So I get in the ambulance, and um, in the meantime, there's like I see the semi just like shoots by, and these men are all yelling, and uh, evidently the same thing happened to a semi. They didn't see the traffic stopping, and so these guys directed them around us, which was amazing, and I'm so thankful for. And then I get into the ambulance, and there's a person in the ambulance with me, and it's not anyone that I know, and they're doing all kinds of things to this person, and I'm just kind of like, you know, ramped up at this point, and I need to calm myself down, and I'm kind of they're asking me some, medical history questions, and I'm kind of saying to them, am I gonna need stitches? And because I'm now taped to a backboard, and it's all, it seems bigger than a few stitches to me, and I don't know how to react to that. And so I'm on my way to the hospital, and I'm ramped up, and just I need to calm down. So kind of begin to sing to myself, I hum a little, and I'm okay. Like I'm really not in pain. I'm just freaked out because I don't know what's going on. And I get to the hospital, and when I see my mom, who has worked in the medical field her whole life, I see her reaction, and when she sees me, and I know, okay, something's going on here. Like it must be pretty bad. And I go. The ER doctor comes in, and he's looking at me, and he's saying things like, "Yeah, you're definitely gonna need some stitches," um, and he's talking to the nurse that's with him, and he's kind of like, "Well, you know, maybe I could do those. I don't know. Maybe we should call a plastic surgeon." And so at this point, I'm like, what is going on? And so I simply say to him, okay, tell me what you see. Because, like I said, my mom was in the medical field, my sister was in the medical field, and I had actually worked in a medical office, and I'm not, I have enough knowledge to know kind of, give me a clue here. So he says, okay, I see about a 3 to 4 inch laceration over your left eye and your nose, and it extends up your forehead, and I can see your skull. And I said, okay, that's enough. And he leaves the room, and I look at my mom, and I'm like, I kind of grab my mom's hand. I'm like, okay, if this guy has any question, uh, whether or not we need a plastic surgeon, we are getting a plastic surgeon. Don't let this guy show my face. This is my face. And so we get a plastic surgeon, and I wait, and it's a long process, and the plastic surgeon comes, and he's very kind and just a wonderful, kind man. And he's talking to me, and I said, I didn't have any x rays. And he said, oh, that's okay. He said, there's no fracture. I have my finger on your skull right now. And I'm like, okay, enough said. So he begins to work, and as he's working, he's telling me that there's a lot of tissue that they'll have to cut out of there so that the scarring won't be great. And to so that my forehead can remain flat and there won't be any just extensive flaws there. And he's telling me that there's probably parts of my face that I will no longer have feeling in. And, uh, and this is all just kind of coming at me. And he puts basically, he says an unknown number of stitches internally as he's doing this. And I'm awake for all of this, but I'm numb, and which was the worst part. I had to get a shot into my eyelid, which was by far the most painful part of the whole thing. And so I'm awake, and he's talking to me. So he's kind of telling me what he's doing as he goes. And so there's an unknown number of stitches internally that will dissolve, and there's about 40, maybe a little more than 40 stitches externally. Um, and no fractures or anything. And so as I'm leaving out of there, it's been hours now, and I haven't seen myself, and I don't know what to expect. And my nephew, who's about 4 or 5 at the time, sees me and gets this look on his face and just kind of turns away. And so I go to the restroom there in the ER because I want to see. And I kind of see myself, and I'm thinking, okay, Frankenstein. And so obviously, I had all of these stitches across my whole forehead and up. And I went home that night, and it really did a job on my TMJ. And from all of the loss of blood, I passed out. But that was the worst of it. And yeah, every day I see the scar on my face. And yes, some days I really, really hate it. And I especially did at first when it was new and it was tender and it was more red. And I hated it for a long time. But now at this point, 13 years later, I, 98% of the time, I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that I'm here. I'm thankful that I have a face to have a scar on, and I'm I'm thankful that I didn't go through the windshield. And so, in the case of face versus steering wheel won, but I think that I'm still winning. And so, if you were to look through my history, that's one of the stories you would find.